Hey, what up, guys? Jon here, LiksWell Together podcast, episode 31 in studio, and it's pouring rain here in SoCal. There you go, news update. What do you say we get going on episode 31? All right, guys, what's up? That's right. It is pouring rain here in SoCal. Now, I understand pouring rain in SoCal is probably not the same as pouring rain in other places, but for us, it's a lot, Vic.
It causes problems on the road.
People do not know how to drive in the rain, bro.
Just don't know what to do.
Man, I watched my ETA go from 6:59 up to 7:30, and I was like, what the heck? And so I live like on the edge of town, and there's kind of two main roads that you can take to get out of town.
Yeah.
One of them kind of edges across the mountain, and then one kind of is a little more inland. And so I usually go on the edge. It's longer, but there's a lot less cars and stop signs.
Okay.
Or signals, really, because I'm a red light guy. I hit every red light, man. Like, my kids will straight up celebrate when I hit 2 green lights in a row.
Wow.
That's how bad it is. So my routes usually lack signals because they just suck. So anyways, but at a certain point, those two routes join, and then they go apart. So I was a good, 5 minutes up the one when I was at a signal, and this cop came flying from behind me, and I was like, frick, I'm going to get a ticket. But no, he was actually just blocking the road. So like he came right in front of me and stopped the road, so then I had to turn around and come back this way, and then I had to go down this other flooded road, which in the Jeep was actually quite fun, so it didn't matter to me. But everybody else couldn't drive, so... Anyways, yes, rain in SoCal.
Rain
in SoCal. This weekend is the Off-Road Expo, and we won't be there.
That's a good thing because I think
not
it's
off-road,
be Overland
Expo SoCal. Yeah. I won't tell you the politics of why we won't be there.
But still, it might be raining.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain tomorrow and Saturday, I thought. Yeah. So anyways, there you go, guys. That's what's happening here in SoCal. If you're not from SoCal, it's raining, and people don't know how to drive.
Last night too.
It was windy. It was windy this morning a bit too. Yeah. Wind and rain in SoCal. Like, folks, we just don't know how to do with it.
Nope.
We have no idea. But with that, we're here, and then we're only here half the week next week, and we're driving out to Mesa, Arizona for Master Tech.
Right.
Yeah. So Master Tech's kicking off next weekend. So we're getting ready for that. And we figured for episode 31, do a little pre-release. Not pre-release, but we're doing a training there.
Right.
Yeah, and we're going to do a training on because Master Tech's a different show. Master Tech's the custom guy.
Right.
It's not the normal shop. It's the guy that's going to take something and custom fit it. So for that show, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to be like, look at this really cool plug-and-play system. Because these guys are like, I don't want plug-and-play. I want to, I want to make it look cool. So we're going to demo some of our existing Universal stuff, and then some of our up and coming Universal stuff. So we were talking about what we should talk about today, and I think we do like a little preview.
Yeah, it should training. It should be cool. I mean, I'm excited about this dual screen setup here.
Yeah. The dual screen is pretty legit. Yeah, for sure. So we've got a couple double DINs already available. We're redesigning our single DIN. So those of you who had the single DIN before, you know, a new one's coming. Yeah. We've got another double DIN style here, a little different. It's not going to have a rotating screen. But yeah, this whole dual screen setup, man, is pretty... It's an interesting thought, man. Like, I'm thinking through, like, even dash like a Volkswagen Bug, man.
Yes.
I was like thinking, like, how cool would this thing look if you like made the Bug, got rid of the digital or the analog cluster and stuff.
Yes.
Just because it's just a thin, long piece up there, and just put this whole dual screen action in there. I thought, man, that might be a pretty cool thing. So
this might be 2/3 the width of the Bug dash.
You're probably right. Yeah, the passenger is going to watch the screen. It's going to be a driver passenger. But I feel like it would be a cool application. So maybe we can get the guys to buy us a Bug.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll get an old Bug and soup it up.
So having the dual screen setup is cool.
It is cool.
But one of my favorite things about it is just being able to transfer items. Like right now, we have this music player playing on this side of the screen, and then Apple CarPlay's on that side of the screen. But one cool thing is if I go on the home screen for this one and I then launch CarPlay on this screen, then, it flips over.
Yeah.
So I really like that function. So, because one thing is, I could do one thing on one screen and something completely different on the other one. But when you have them interact that way so that you can set it up, in your own preferred way, I think that's definitely a game changer. It's more attractive.
Yeah. Yeah. Aren't you supposed to be able to like swipe them?
I thought so, but I think you just...
I'm just sweeping.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't reach.
We've been playing around with it for so long. So it looks like it
there
comes
you go.
over that way. Yeah.
There you go.
So
told you could swipe it.
Yes.
I just was not pushing hard enough because the table's going to fall over. But yeah, so it's going to have all the typical stuff, right? Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, everything you want in a normal LiksWell radio when it comes to internet stuff. So
4G LTE connectivity.
Yep, you got the SIM card and whatnot. And then I know we debuted this guy at SEMA last year. Last year. And we had a couple like EV car builders like interested in like using it to decode a bunch of the stuff in the car. So even if you guys are in that kind of a niche market, hit us up because there's a good chance that we might be able to do some extra stuff in here.
Right.
Or we might be able to do some more CAN bus driven things. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's going to have your typical speaker outputs, your RCAs.
Yep. Multiple channel camera inputs.
Multiple camera inputs. Yeah.
HDMI out.
So I mean, even thinking like a buggy or something, being able to like have a camera on screen and your CarPlay on screen is kind of and full screen too. I mean, these are, that's got to be at like 12 inch ratio.
Wide.
Yeah. 12 or 13 wide. Which it's a nice view, man.
It really is.
Yeah,
so I'm excited about it. And then we have here, obviously in the background, 14.5.
Yep.
Doubled in chassis, and then 14. Like you said, it doesn't rotate. It's just a much better image quality from what we're all used to in a way. And so this is like our home screen here. Just take that, and this is sort of like your home screen Google mapping. And then obviously this layout could be changed around. The background images could be changed around. But I mean, other than that, CarPlay, Android Auto are all given functions.
Yep.
My favorite part about it is since this is a all touchscreen, is we're also working on a universal steering wheel remote control. Yeah,
because that was been one of the questions. Some of the guys wanting to put them in certain things and have something. So so we've got a battery powered, clip it to your steering wheel, old school back in the day. Kind of thing.
Yeah, so this is it's a standard T-harness that plugs into the back of the radio.
Yep.
So you don't have to do a whole lot of programming when it comes to that because you're T-tapping. You're not T-tapping. It's a T-harness that goes in line with the main power harness of the radio. This is the module in the back. If you guys could see that, I'm going to hold it up over here. And then you have your remote control, which looks like this. And it's actual buttons. Like you could...
Feel them click.
Yeah, like this is volume up, volume down.
Yep.
Right, and then you have phone answer, phone hang up, source, track up, track down, a quick access to your backup camera. So that's what that is right here, even though there's no backup camera plugged in. So quick access, push it again, it brings you back to the other screen. But I really like that about this. Some people got to have those steering wheel controls. And if you're putting this into a custom vehicle, where, you might want to make some use out of that. So
I agree with you. And that should work across multiple of the universal stuff.
Yep, I tried it on this one before I learned the keys for that one, and they were both kind of doing the same thing. So like you said, you might be able to use it across the board on multiple different universal applications.
Because it's just creating the resistance output. So
I know for sure because our 15.6 inch universal, the vertical one, comes with this setup in the package already. So that will work across the board.
Yeah. So just a couple knick-knack things, man. We got some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I think we've even got a new 10-inch. So one thing about the mounting of this one, it's going to be a little different. So it's going to plug and then snap.
Yeah.
So install-wise, maybe easier, maybe not. I don't know. It really depends on what you're doing with it and how you're installing it.
Right.
But we got that, and then with the single DIN stuff, those ones we're actually working with the LVDS kind of a thing, so we'll be able to like separate the chassis.
Yes.
So you could have a hideaway unit, flush mount the screen and whatnot. These ones here, you still have to keep the chassis and the screen nearby. But yeah, those are some new things, man. Master Tech coming up. We'll do some live demos. You guys can touch them. We'll have them in our booth if you guys are coming to Master Tech, so make sure you come by.
Yeah.
Check those things out. You can see what's happening. But for a company that we cut our teeth, really, man, we're known most for our factory integrating,
right?
You know, being able to be very plug and play and quick and easy and fast, being able to work within.
But that's also a very extreme solution. You know what I mean? Because, because, you know, the factory fit and finish, the electronics, meaning the actual hardware, and then the CAN bus integration. I think if you're going to do it, that's probably the best way to do it, where you go the full extent.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you prove yourself that way. And then you could come back and say, well, what else could we do?
Yeah.
And that's kind of why Master Tech is here, because if you guys want to come by, have any ideas, if you guys have something that the market is asking for, you know, we're hearing, we have our ears open, and we want to hear about that. And I think that that's what's cool about a company like us, that we could not just kind of stick to what we've always done. We can always go back and say, oh, the market's requesting X.
Yeah, which is where these things birthed from.
Exactly.
You know, like it was so many applications we just didn't have a radio for.
Yes.
And so trying to, you know, be able to give more people the cool features. Like, we're pretty proud of our radios. Like, we're pretty proud of what they do, and we want to get them in as many vehicles. And then really out of the gate, there were a lot of people with custom applications asking. We had a pretty, and we still do have a pretty consistent ask for custom mountable or usable, you know, radios, just something that they can do. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the innovation of the installer, right? Like we just keep progressing, and wanting to do more, right? Like that's part of the whole custom world. That's part of everything. Is like you can only do the same thing for so long before it's like, okay, we got to try something new, because I've seen it all, right?
Yes.
Like back when we were lowering trucks, right? It was lowering them, and then it was putting airbags on them, and then it was body dropping them, right? Then it was chopping and channeling them, right? And then you had these like mini trucks with like windows this big, and like, you know, they were sitting on the floor. It was just because it was just this progression of like, you know, we lowered a truck, then we lowered a truck with adjustable suspension, you know, then we body dropped it so that it could touch the ground, so there wasn't a gap. You know, the frame was on the ground, but there was a gap from the door. Like, it was just this progression, and then it got to a certain point, right, and we moved on to the next thing. For whatever reason, we went up. Everybody started to build trucks high, right? So then it went from like, you know, how low can you go to how high can you go? And the same thing with the suspension, right? Like they just, you know, started with just simple blocks and spacers. Then you started getting springs. Then you started doing forelegs. Then you started doing, you know, just this constant up.
Now you've got these lifted trucks that have bags.
They have airbags, so they can go higher and lower. Yeah. Somebody was like, "Hey, let's go back to old school when we used to have airbags." Yeah. And then when it comes to like the automotive industry, right? Like, or the car audio side of things, right?
Yeah,
like
the electronics.
Yeah, just we've done the flip out. We've done flat screens. We've done double DIN radios, right? And you know, I know there's some of the guys are making like the big 10-inch screens and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we're trying to do something different more, right? We got a 14-inch screen. You know, we're Android. We give you some extra features in that. Right. And then like this dual screen thing, I think is a real thought outside the box.
Yes.
You know, having two screens attached, being able to swipe it, like that's high-end OE stuff, being able to be used and installed into
the aftermarket.
Yeah, into the aftermarket world. And we're talking like the depth of this thing is maybe 2.5 inches, right?
Yeah.
So like
3 with the plugs.
Yeah,
you know?
like you're talking about not needing very much depth, and that's only in certain areas of it, right? It's just where the chassis is.
Yes.
You know, so I think like the applications and what you could actually do with it is if you're building something custom, like it's definitely not going to go into a stock dash.
No.
Like it's going to look a little funky going into a stock dash. But for those guys at Master Tech, right, those guys that are wanting to build something that somebody else hasn't seen.
Yeah, and all it takes is, you know, one retail customer wanting something or having a thought, and then them going to a shop and having somebody at that shop who's willing to take on the challenge and saying, you know what, we saw this LiksWell video. They have this new
crazy idea, yeah.
Right. And now all of a sudden it's like, here you go,
Yeah.
right? So it really just takes the right combination of products and people to make something crazy like that happen.
Yep.
And so
Yeah. And so again, like if you're there, come by, check it out, give us some,
Yes.
you know, I mean, I've built enough custom cars. I wouldn't say I'm a custom car builder, but I've built custom cars.
Yeah.
So like I've done the fiberglass work and I've done, you know, again, I think I mentioned this before, like this, I was building cars pre 3D printer, you know, so the computer side and having something printed for me, that I didn't get the opportunity to really play with, but I have, you know, done the fiberglass work and the stilting and the stretching and all of that stuff. And so I have again, man, I'm not trying to say that I'm the best at all, not even close. Like I'm just an earmark, but I have a mentality that says, okay, how could I build this around this, right? And so looking at this screen, I'm like, man, this would be a fairly simple, like template to make, to be able to put onto something, to stilt out something, to create, you know, what it is. And so if you're smarter than me and you can 3D print, that makes it even easier because you could scan the back of this thing, make your recess thing. And then, yeah, I mean, there's really a whole lot of things you could do with this. And so if you're at MasterTech, even if you don't end up at a MasterTech and you have questions or, you know, suggestions like, hey, have you guys ever thought of this or that? Some of them we've probably thought of and we can't do just because of the way mechanics or things work.
Yes.
Some of them maybe we haven't thought of and we'd love to hear about them. So, you know, like that's really the key. I think I've mentioned it at least here. I know I've mentioned it other places, but when LiksWell opened and the owner was interviewing me, he said, I want to make what people want. Like that was the thing. And I was like so blown away from a manufacturer that said, I want to build what people want. I need to know what people want and then I'll build it. And I was like, okay, now I can get behind something like that, right? Like having a company. And that's really what LiksWell is about. Like we are trying to think outside the box.
Yes.
We're trying to not stay in the box. We're trying to come up. And you know what? Some of our ideas are great. Some of them aren't. You know, some of them are 50-50. But we're just trying to think outside the box.
Exactly.
You know, so if you've got suggestions or, you know, thoughts like, hey, have you guys ever thought of this? Like the whole chassis being removable from the screen, like that was something that we've wanted to do for a while.
Right.
And it took us a matter of like, and we're still working through the woes of creating an LVDS signal, right? Because it's just nothing we've ever done as a manufacturer. It's different. And so we're having to come up with new chips and new protocols and, you know, new hardwares and all these new things to learn how to do an LVDS system. But we're doing it because we think, hey, man, this would make it better. Yeah. It was necessary.
Definitely would.
It was necessary for the two big applications we're releasing this year in the Silverado and the new F-150.
Yes.
So the LVDS was the only way we could make the radio that we wanted to for those two applications. And so because we're not I don't know if this is the right way to say it. We're open-minded when it comes to products. So once we're like, oh, we have an LVDS system, where else can we use this?
Whoa, yeah.
You know, like okay, now we've created an LVDS signal. Cool. What else can we use this on? Where else can we plug this into? Right, like, and just kind of tease out that idea and whatnot. So working with some really cool stuff. With the universal.
I mean, or maybe you know, like you said, you found a niche market and maybe you do cater to RV manufacturers. Or maybe you do have an RV park around your shop and you might want to present them with something more modern, more up to date. Because the fact is technology as I don't care how new your RV or motorhome is, it is old technology in there. You know, it's got more switches than you can think of and you don't know.
And you don't know what they do. It's just why we came out with the Links 2 system.
Exactly.
And where that's going to be going. So we just hired a sales manager over all the Link 2 stuff.
Right.
So we should probably have Mark on here one day. We should have him call in from good old Elkhart, Indiana. I'll hit him up about that. But yeah, just thinking through, okay, how can we make this new? But you're absolutely right. A lot of those RV dashes are just big and flat.
And empty.
And something like this would be really, really cool to
awesome.
Like put into an RV. And even if it wasn't the car stereo, but a cabinet stereo, you know, that they were using inside the cab or something. Like, again, man, like there's just, you start to really kind of.
I'm telling you, man.
Through, like,
I've been thinking about going back to retail with all this stuff coming out.
You can open a store just so you can pitch some LiksWell gear.
I'm telling you, it's like, you know, every time I see something new, I'm like, man, I want to go back to retail.
Yeah. Well, that was how I felt about the amps when we came out with the T harness amps. I was like, man, where was this when I was installing, you know, and when I was selling, because. Like, to be able to, like, have a customer come in, like, God, man, the upsell of a plug-and-play 4-channel DSP amp, like, it basically sells itself. You know, like, if you haven't seen our little display where we have the stock Scion radio, and it goes from stock speakers, push the button, and it's now just our little 5-channel, and just, like, the mind-blowing difference of sound. Like, a simple display in there, like, I would be LiksWell's #1 amp seller because I would sell the heck out of those amps.
And you know what? I mean, like you said, right? That's more of a affordable, budget-friendly solution. Yeah. So you don't necessarily need like a super high-end sub on the 5-channel. No. And think about that conversation, right? Like you just did a deck, and it's cool. It still sounds like crap.
Yeah.
And then having that customer say, yeah, it sounds good. I mean, it looks good, but, you know, sound quality. And then having that conversation with, listen, up until a few months ago, this would have been like an additional $1,800 to redo your speakers, redo an amp, redo, you know, sub. Listen, and then now you're just charging the cost of the amp, the cost of the T harness, and like an hour and a half of labor. And hey, I can have this thing
smoking.
Yeah.
Or even the customer that comes in with the car that you don't have a dash kit for, there's not a radio for.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And they want better music. Right now, you don't have to worry about, you know, adding all the adapters and all that. So I just like, I'm like, man, like, so that was the first thing I thought. I was like, where was this? And I was in the bay because, I mean, I've said it before, we did so many tri-moded, you know.
It's because just the whole rewiring of those 4.
Well, all of that.
And then you've got your 2 sets of RCAs. And if you're running subs, now you've got that. But then that one T-harness handles audio into the amp, handles audio out of the amp to your speakers. And your sub out is already there if you're doing a 5-channel. I mean, you run an 8 gauge, you ground it, and you're done. It's like,
and
I can see why you felt that way.
That was the first time I was like, oh man, where was this when I was, because I could have had so many of my guys put amps in, you know, faster and better, and they're super small and so easy to hide.
I did the 4-channel in a Sequoia not too long ago. Like an 01, 02 Sequoia. Man, there's so much room behind the dash.
You just shoved it behind it.
It was back there where the factory JBL amp was. Like I took the factory JBL, it's right there. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I didn't have to go anywhere. Like I didn't have to. I was just.
And depending on which Sequoia it is, that those plugs at the JBL amp, you could have just used the T harness.
The same T harness there. Yes.
You totally could have, because I think it just loops it there. That's super funny.
So
so that's the other thing. We'll talk about some amplifiers at the show too, because we do have some cool amplifiers for you. But yeah, we really want to know, like, what features are you looking for? You know, what do you guys think of the dual screen?
Definitely.
What do you think about the the new versions of our double DINs, and you know, what physically do you think would work better? You know, or you know, hit us up and let us know. Come by our booth. If you haven't signed up for our training, sign up for our training. I think it's Saturday. I don't remember. It was like we were going to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Friday was taken.
It's going to be Friday.
Is it Friday? Saturday was taken.
Yeah, it was gonna be. It's gonna be Friday. It was gonna be Saturday, but it was taken. So we had either Friday or Sunday. Everybody parties Saturday night. So Sunday there would have been nobody there.
Freaking installers all partying.
They let them out the gate, man.
Yeah, it's all freedom. I mean, Mesa's not nearly as bad as Vegas, but
yes,
everybody parties.
So
Vegas.
It's gonna be Friday.
Yeah. Okay. Friday. Cool. So, anyways, that's everything, man. So, come by, see us.
Yep.
We'll have our trailer there. You can see what we were talking about. Just mentioned the link to. So the link to will be out there. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have a cool announcement about us jumping into another area of the industry. So you want to come by and check out kind of what we're announcing out there.
Yes.
For just a new venture for LiksWell, as we've kind of got our bearings in the automotive side of things, and we've kind of branched into the RV overland side of things, and now we're going to kind of branch into another area, just trying to take, again, innovation into a part of the industry that just feels uninnovative.
Yes.
Just feels stagnant.
Yeah.
And so we want to jump into that. So come by, see what that's all about. That's all I'm telling you. You don't get any more than that. That's it.
I think I have an idea what it is.
I would hope you.
There's so many of them.
There
right?
really are.
There's so many of them. I'm just like, okay, yep.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm there. I mean, ultimately, what it is okay. So we have all these things to think about here as a company, like our daily, duties and roles, and then on top of that, we're looking at obviously a new product. But then when you combine the time we have to think outside the box towards new products, features, functions, and then you partner that up with you guys that are going to be a master tech who are busy with your everyday stuff, but then you also have this time to think of man, if only we had this. So then you put that together with the little time we've had to think about new stuff, and that's where it all begins. Man, it's just taking an existing market, like you said, that doesn't feel as innovative, and then bringing injecting some new innovation into it.
Yep. Innovation, man. That should be our tagline. At least that's what we try to do. We try to be innovative and kind of create new things and think outside the box because...
Well, I think that's where the technology together comes from, but we should change technology to innovation.
Innovation.
Together.
Innovation together with you. That was like a infomercial.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, like for $49.99, you too can be part of the innovation.
Be a ring model or
come.
Yeah, cuts and broken nails.
Yep, all that. Yeah, come. Good stuff. Right on. So next week it'll be Justin and I at Master Tech. We'll do a show from somewhere in Master Tech. I don't know. Always an invitation. Always an invitation to any of our dealers.
Yeah.
If you guys want to do an interview, hear me say it again. We'll be at Master Tech. I'll have my gear. If you guys want to jump on, quick invitation just to talk about who you are, where you're at, and just let that get out there on the YouTube-age.
Yep.
We do our best to try and put some money behind it to get it out even further than our normal reach. So if you guys are a dealer and you're going to be at Master Tech, please do hit me up about that. We'll be sending an email out Wednesday letting you know that I'll be there. Or if you're not at Master Tech but you still want to do an interview or something, hit me up as well. You can comment here. You can shoot me an email because I can do it mobile or remote. Not mobile, remote.
Yes.
So we'll be at Master Tech demoing some cool stuff, showing off, doing a training about universal stuff. Justin and I will be hanging out. Walt will be there. Come by, find out what new part of the industry we're going to be cracking into that we are starting to run after. And get yourself, I think we'll have some hats. I think we might even have some mugs left over.
Yeah.
And tell us what you think, man. Give us some insights on some products that you want to have. But I think that's it, man. Episode 31 is locked and loaded, ready for Master Tech. We should probably go load the trailer.
Yes. Yeah, we should.
In the rain. Load the trailer in the rain so we can be ready for the show. But that's what we got, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Of course, we're still trying to hit 20,000 subscribers. So in the description, there will be a link for you to enter into a drawing to get a free 1,000-watt D-Class amp, which we have in the industry. Been here a while. We've been pretty impressed by these little powerhouse amps.
Yep.
They actually 1 ohm stable, and they live there and work there and grind there, and it's been pretty solid. Pretty solid amp. So you could do some pretty good stuff with this little 1,000 watts. So make sure you click that. Even if you're already a subscriber, there are other ways to enter the drawing. You just got to click the link in the description. But that's what we got for episode 31. We will see you guys in Mesa and then next week. See you guys.